Hello, singing friends. Welcome back to my channel. It's Mickey here, your friendly neighborhood singing coach. Today is December 21st, which is the shortest day of the year and the darkest and most depressing. But after today, we will be heading back towards the light. And it's also the last night of Hanukkah. So it's the last candle. I'm wearing my ugly Hanukkah sweater, matzo baller. And there's something really nice and poetic about the fact that it's the last night of Hanukkah, because Hanukkah is a festival of lights and we are going to light the most candles tonight. So there will be the most light on the day of the year that has the least light. So I always think I wouldn't make it through the winter months, given my seasonal affective disorder, if it weren't for the holidays, which bring so much light and comfort and family and all of the nice things. So on that note, today I'm going to be doing a reaction request from Mike German, and he writes, "This is Grai with their song A Water Well, live in Moscow in 2021. As you may recall, Grai, which translates as the loud cry of birds, is from the Central Russian Republic of Tatarstan, a little over 500 miles east of Moscow. This features the usual great performance by the three principal members, with fantastic singing from Irina and wind instruments by Aliyah. As always, Ruthsfeld, with the short hair, does a great job on rhythm guitar. The song is about a woman who murders her husband by drugging him, stabbing him with a sickle, and throwing him down the titular water well." Wow. The usual gripping, very poetic, and extremely dark Russian old school style lyrics by Irina. From what I've been told, the lyric style is like a Russian type of poetry that might have been used if Edgar Allan Poe had been Russian in the 1840s. It's a very interesting description. All right, so we're going to hear a song about a woman who murders her husband with a sickle, which is a pretty violent weapon to use. You can imagine that would be very gory, and then hurls him down a drinking well. So that certainly sounds dark and very exciting. So let's get into it and check it out, all right? So this is Grai with A Water Well.
Следующая песня называется «Колодец». Погнали!
Just going to pause it there for a moment. So a couple things that I noticed when I think that rubber band sound almost came in. I think that was like a instrument that she was playing with her mouth, right? It was almost like, looked like a kazoo or something. And when it first came in, it sounded a little bit like ridiculous to me. Like it didn't seem like it belonged, but it was really interesting because as the rest of the music came in, it suddenly blended in with the other tones of the instruments, and then it fit. So I was like, what is that like cartoonish sound? It sounds like a rubber band being snapped or something. But then once the rest of the band came in, it like blended in and it sounded really cool. So that was like an interesting sonic sleight of hand almost, you know? And then I was really impressed with just the rhythmic precision of the drums and the rhythm guitar. And even when the guitarist Roosevelt, when he plays the riffs on the guitar, everything was like very, very exact, which I always notice about metal bands. They're always like very technically proficient. And I appreciate that. Because, you know, my favorite band when I was a teenager was like Nirvana, and they were anything but precise. They were more like sloppy and chaotic and haphazard a lot of times. And that was part of their charm. You know, it was like very shambolic and could fall apart at any moment. So this is like an interesting contrast where everything is like very, very precise. And then in terms of her voice, I think it's Irina, right? I really like her use of riffs, and the way that she's singing almost matches the way that the like kazoo kind of rubber band sound what it was doing, because it was kind of like like moving up and down very quickly, oscillating in the pitch. And she also is like changing pitch very quickly, right? She's kind of doing like da, 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 you know, like moving on these riffs very, very quickly. And that requires obviously a lot of precision. You have to be able to sing a lot of notes very rapidly and still do them accurately. So it doesn't sound sloppy. So yeah, very interesting so far. I really like it. Sorry, I almost knocked the iPad off of the piano there. I was trying to turn the volume a little bit up. So yeah, I really, really like the contrast of the backing vocals and the lead vocals. So the lead vocals obviously are very melodic, and she's fully phonating. She's got a pretty clear tone. And then the background vocals are more like false vocal fold singing, where you're producing sounds, but you're not really phonating, right? So you're getting more of that like, kind of sound. And the contrast is really nice because it completely fills the sonic envelope. You've got that like low, growly sound, which I associate a lot with like death metal. And then you've got a much more melodic female vocal floating on top, and it really sounds nice and very complimentary. I also really just like how ornamented her singing is. So rather than singing like a straight melody, right? Da 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 da, or whatever the melody is, right? all of it is like ornamented, like da da da. I can't even do it, right? But I don't know exactly what she's doing, but she's doing like a little ornament each time that she hits a note, right? So I could imagine it being like a guitar string or something where you pluck the string and it vibrates, right? And it like oscillates around the pitch and then it like arrives at the pitch. So it's almost like she's like doing that with her vocal cords, you know? It's like they're being plucked and you get that oscillation really quickly and then it settles into the sound. And it's a really cool style of singing that I don't really know that I've heard anywhere else. So yeah, really, really cool so far. Very cool. So the instrumental break was really interesting, very complex rhythms, and you had a similar thing as with the vocal contrast of the very melodic and then the more like metal, right? Most of the band was playing with that like very metal kind of sound, and then you had the beautiful flute floating on top of that as a contrast. I also really, really liked when Irina started singing again and then the flute was harmonizing with her. That was really, really lovely. And yeah, I thought it was really cool, really interesting, just very different, more complex than if you listen to like pop music on the radio these days when it's like the same four chords and it's very predictable and everything is like very mellifluous and like consonant, right? There was a lot of like dissonances in here, and you could imagine that at some points they were playing in like different modalities. It definitely was not predictable. And it was like a really cool blend of more like exotic tonalities and instrument combinations and things. So very exciting. I also just think they have a really cool look. Everyone in the band has fabulous hair, as I think I've mentioned before. And they just sound really professional and awesome. For a live video, it sounds amazing. You know, they were really, really precise. I didn't hear anybody making any mistakes or any sloppiness. So it was very impressive. I really enjoyed it. Let's check out the lyrics because Mike was kind enough to include those as well. So they are a water well. From the well water gaze the darkness of dead eyes. Down below the vestiges go of she who took the soul away. A pale forehead is envisioned. Tenacious fear desiccates the throat. His name is scorched as a scarlet mark on the hands. I like that. It's almost like Macbeth, right? Like out, out, damn spot. And really good vocabulary too, you know, like vestiges and tenacious and desiccates. I really like that word. I often like to use that word when I'm thirsty because I like to exaggerate. I'm desiccated. From the well, coldness drinks black grieving water, and the darkness of misfortune leaves ice on echoing walls. She drugged her husband with a sleeping potion. To the well led him, thrust a sharp blade into his heart, and the well drowned him. The moon saw through the gray fog bloody wounds from a sickle. A splash broke the night's silence. The body gave up its soul. I like the personification of the moon. It's the witness, right? Yester evening through the meadow she wandered, gathered evil roots yester evening. To a dark river she went. She was washing those roots, rinsing them in the river till they were fully clean, and having washed the roots, dried them till they were fully dry. Having dried the evil roots, ground them very finely ground the evil roots, and brewed poison. So really interesting construction of this last part of the song, where there's a lot of like doubling back and repetition in the lyrics. I think it's very descriptive, very spooky and macabre. Definitely a little bit Edgar Allan Poe. I could see that for sure. So yeah, I really like it. I think it matches their look and their sound quite well. And I think they're a really unique band and a wonderful live performance. So thank you, Mike, for sharing. I really enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed my reaction. Until next time, take care, and of course, happy singing. And don't let anybody poison you and kill you with a sickle and push you into a well. That doesn't sound like a pleasant way to go. Bye.